Genetically modified organisms are reported to be life-threatening and are capable of mass sterilization of male adults. Little wonder it is banned in European countries and other parts of the world. In a while, a pro-life champion is going to dwell more on the consequences of consuming GMO products. And with that, we welcome you to Universal Heritage Television Nigeria on our face-to-face program, a personality interview program. Our guest today is academician Philip Njemanze. Philip is from the popular Njemanze family in Owerri. He's a man that has so many things rolled into one. He's an author, a renowned scientist of global acclaim. He's a rights activist. He's a physician, a pro-life champion, among many others. Sir, you are welcome to our program.
Thank you for having me.
My name is Afam Echi, your host. Please remember to give up thumbs up and subscribe to our YouTube platform. Okay, sir, recently you transmitted a letter to the National Assembly and the Presidency and called on Christians and Muslims to unite to fight what you called GMOs, seeds of death. And in that same letter, you alleged security threats to life. It would be nice to know what your concerns are. You know, what are the issues for you, sir, that originated the correspondence?
Yes, thank you for having me again. GMOs, genetically modified organisms, I would like our listeners to actually know what this is. This is taking a crop like maize, for example, and in the maize they can integrate one quality. In this case, they will say a drought-tolerant gene. But even though they say this, it has not been proven anywhere that this really works well. But let us assume, just for argument, that the quality is integrated in it. They also integrate a terminator gene. A terminator gene is a suicide gene which is integrated into this crop. So that means when you plant it and it grows into a full corn, if you take the seed from that corn and plant it again, it will not germinate. That's the second generation. You can't get another generation from it. So that one you've taken is the last one you can take in the series. So you have to go back to them to obtain again the seed in order to plant in the next season. So this will now make them totally in control of your food security. So that means anytime they don't give you seeds, you cannot have any food. So, and this is actually the main aim, the commercial drive, because they have now got you hooked up on the seed. You must come to them every planting season. So now they can be making money from it. That's the whole idea. Now you have now destroyed your natural crop. Now you had mentioned at the intro that the seeds, genetical GMO seeds, have been found to cause mass sterilization. Now, the truth of the matter is that this is so. There is a company, American company called Epicite. Epicite invented a way to insert a gene that will sterilize people. If a man eats it, he becomes infertile. That means he cannot have children. So then this Epicite gene was bought over by Monsanto. So when it was bought over by Monsanto, for the very purpose of inserting it in crops, so they now inserted it in Monsanto maize. This Monsanto maize was now grown and then actually put in practice. So the truth of the matter is that this is not some kind of conspiracy theory, or this is real fact. Epicite gene, Monsanto Epicite gene exists. Now, why are they doing this? That's why even many legislators, many people say, okay, well, are they doing this just for money? Yes, it is for money, but even beyond that, what has happened to Nigeria? What the aim of these biotech companies is that they want to begin massive cloning of organs and tissues. The cloning industry is worth $30 trillion US dollars. 30 trillion is 1/3 of world economy. Why and how do they plan to do this? What they want to do is, if you go to the hospital and you have a heart disease, nobody is going to start giving you this drug or this. They foresee a future whereby, oh, if you have a heart disease, why don't we give you a new heart? So what the doctor has to do will be just to put an ultrasound device or whatever that will allow him to see the heart, and he will insert a small needle and take a cell from it. That cell can send back to the biotech companies. These biotech companies will take that cell from that diseased heart and insert it into an ovarian cell, the egg of a woman. So that ovarian egg will now be used to clone it in a tissue culture. So that heart cell that it took contains the genetic material of the heart of that person. Then the egg of the woman, who they take out the nucleus, will now be what will provide the tissue so it can grow into a heart. After culturing the heart, they send it back to the doctor for transplantation to that person. Maybe he paid the $5 million or $3 million, no matter the amount. So this business is looked at as the organ cloning business. Now, what did the West do? All their billionaires, all the big names you hear, and all that, they invested in this. The big countries started invested in this. But the problem was, which country will women allow you to take their egg without permission? They said, well, wait a minute, there is the Nigeria. That Nigeria has 250 million people. And there is this area of their country that produces 70% of the tuber crops. That's the Northeast. So, so what we do? What we will do is that we will breed these mercenaries. Take them from Liberia, take them from Libya, take them from Chad, take them from Niger, and bring them and call them Fulani headsmen. Okay. So they breeded these people and called them Boko Haram. There is an insurgency, it's an Islamic fight, when most of these people have nothing to do with Islam. Some of them are just mercenaries who work for money. They were paying them as high as $10,000 a month for their offices. They breed them, they brought them through the borders of these countries surrounding us, Niger Republic, Chad, and some of those northern countries. They brought them in, and then they started this whole campaign called the Boko Haram. Who was training them? They have a private army. The private army is called Blackwater. Okay, they try to rename it XE Academy. No, the billionaires and the biotech companies bought this company, Blackwater.
Where is it based? The Blackwater?
It's an American company, security company. They were doing security work for Pentagon in Iraq, and those ones kicked them out. When they kicked them out, when they found out they were causing the violence, they kicked them out. And why they were causing the violence was to prolong their contracts. So they kicked them out, and then they had nowhere to go, and the billionaires bought them. And then they started training these mercenaries.
So what you're saying in effect, sir, is that the Boko Haram fight we're experiencing in Nigeria is the result of the handiwork of
the biotech companies. It has nothing to do with any Islamic terrorism. Let me tell you why. You look at the statistics. There is this U.S. entity called Council on Foreign Relations. Okay. And they did an audit, which was submitted by different bodies, between 2015 and 2018. 37,500 people were killed by Boko Haram. 32,000 of those people were Muslims. 5,500 were Christians. So 85% of the victims were Muslims. Only 15% were Christians. And in states like Zamfara, 60% of the victims were Hausa. 40% were Fulani. So how can you want to spread Islam and you're killing 85% of Islamic people? Makes no sense. These people we are mercenaries. Some of the mercenaries are even from South Africa. Some of them from different countries. So these mercenaries were brought in from everywhere and paid in order to come to Nigeria. And how are they tracking the farmers? And how do we know this? Are we just talking? No. Bill Gates, or Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, gave a grant of 2 billion naira to Nigerian farmers, that this money will be used to pay the natural seed growers in their communities. So if the farmer of the farmers, we call them. So these farmers are those who grow the seeds which other farmers come to buy and then plant, but they are natural. So these natural seed growers, we are now told, we will pay you with anybody that comes. Don't bother collecting money from them. We will pay you as far as you register it and all that, and you register their numbers. So they gave them cell phones, which are called electronic wallet, to all the farmers. So 14 million cell phones were funded by Bill Gates. These cell phones have what we call the GPS and NFC technologies that can locate anybody from anywhere in the world to the nearest meter. Okay. So these farmers carried these cell phones, and people were coming to buy from them. So with these cell phones, they could track the seed grower and, of course, the farmers who were carrying. So all the farmers who were carrying this so-called electronic wallet were being tracked all around the country. They knew who the seed growers were. So this data was passed on to these mercenaries who are called the so-called Boko Haram or herdsmen. Okay. They went using those coordinates to find the seed growers, kill them in their farms, and burn all their farms. Wow. And then the remaining of these farmers, they drove into IDP camps. Then they came as one NGO or the other, one international organization, and came to the farms, to the camps, and gave them the so-called improved seeds. The improved seeds were the GMOs. Then the biotech companies' improved seeds were GMOs. They came to the farm, well, we are trying to help you resettle and rehabilitate you. They gave them these improved seeds. So by so doing, they now haven't wiped out practically all the natural seed growers. Now, driving the other farmers to the IDP camps, coming to the IDP camps, giving them these GMO seeds, then they allow the farmers to go back to their farms and plant these GMO seeds. Immediately they have finished the first planting season, they have captured the food security. So because the next season, they will need to go back to them. So now, what they plan going forward is that when they go back to them to ask for these seeds, they will tell them, okay, you have to pay 50,000 for a sachet. They say, oh no, we don't have 50,000. You say, you don't have 50,000. So, okay, you know what we'll do? We'll tell you to, your wife, your daughters, they should go to a nearby clinic, which they will tell them which, and then donate their ovarian eggs. Because they need 100 million ovarian eggs to perfect a procedure we call somatic cell nuclear transfer. This somatic cell nuclear transfer is a way of taking the nucleus of the diseased organ and putting it in the ovarian egg and then letting it grow. That is a manual process, so it wastes a lot of ovarian eggs. So you can now see they want the women to be driven to fertility clinics so they can harvest the eggs. Now, this is why they need to put mass sterilization, because that will only, the Boko Haram activity will only drive the farmers' wives and daughters to those fertility clinics. But the rest, if they now sell the food that has the gene inserted, the sterilization gene inserted, it will also drive every woman in Nigeria who has eaten that food, or every man, and then who has now become sterile. So when they go to that, when they eat this food and become sterile, they now have to go to the fertility clinics. When they get to the fertility clinic trying to have a child, so while they go there, they will harvest maybe 10 eggs and then use 2 to try for them to have a child, and the remaining 10 they will sell to the biotech companies. Wow. This is exactly what is happening in Nigeria right now. Right now, this is the plan. This is what is fueling the violence. They are killing the natural seed growers who are their competitors. So they cannot operate in Nigeria without this. And they put enabling laws. The National Health Act allows them to take the eggs of women. The National Health Act passed in 2014, signed by President Goodluck Jonathan, allows them to take the gametes or ovarian eggs without consent and without any inhibition. The National Biosafety Management Act...
Did you say without consent?
Yes, without consent.
Of the patient?
Yes, without consent of the patient.
You can
in fact, in the National Health Act, without consent of the patient, they can collect an organ. Now, the law says, in both in section 48 and 51, it says that in the case of emergency, the organ can be harvested without consent. Now, in medicine, in anywhere in the world, what doctors do and nurses and pharmacists do in the hospital is emergency. Almost every case can be tagged an emergency, and in order to make sure that everybody will claim an emergency when they come to the hospital, they make emergency treatment free.
Okay.
So if emergency treatment is free, and then you go to this hospital and where they will harvest the egg, they don't need to ask you. You are waiving the emergency. If you say you are come for emergency, you waive the cost. Yeah. But at the same time, you have automatically paid for it with your organ. So this is the crime they committed in the National Health Act, and passed it, and actually legislated that 2 years after there will be no Nigerian clinics.
So what do we have?
Now, they planned to put 260 hospitals built by Bill Gates in Nigeria to replace all our hospital networks. I was personally present when they raised the issue of all the private facilities in Nigeria, all the laboratories, all the pharmacies leaving the healthcare business, only for them to dominate the healthcare business and then harvest the organs of our people, because that's what is in the law. So this is the greatest crime. This is far more beyond the Nazi crime committed by the Nazi government. This is the greatest crime to be committed by anybody, by any group, and they must pay seriously for it. And Nigerian people must stand up to this and stand up to make sure that Bill Gates and all his cronies from Nigeria who are in this plan must pay heavily for it, because this is the greatest crime in the history of humanity.
So let me ask, the picture you painted is very scary, very scary indeed.
Exactly, it is scary.
And one will begin to imagine what the future holds for us. Now, looking at the government role, how would you describe, especially in the case of the GMOs, how would you describe government role in controlling the situation?
The government, unfortunately, even from Goodluck's time to Buhari's time and now, have been acting totally ignorantly, and sometimes even colluding with these adversaries. The reason for this is that the entity that is set up for government, that is the national. That is the National Biosafety Management Agency, is actually a structure set up by the biotech companies. They put their own people in power.
That's very dangerous.
Yes, that's what they did. They just put their own people who carry out their agenda. How can you introduce a seed? No health monitoring, no, you can't appeal their decisions. They just release authorized release. You can't challenge it in any court of law, or they will just announce that this seat have been a field trial. We say, okay, let us issue a counter evidence. No, it's not possible. They just authorize it. What sort of nonsense is that? So this is what they set up the structure by themselves. The seat councils were set up by the same biotech companies. So what is happening in Nigeria is a crime. It's a crime scene. Which has never been seen by humanity. And there are many advanced countries who are colluding with them. The billionaires are colluding with them, telling us they are doing philanthropy and all that. This is a criminal act. And I think our people must move and stand up. The youth of Nigeria must stand up against this, because this is the real threat to the lives of Nigerians. And the youth will be the first victim, because they would like to, kill the Nigerian people through these means.
Yeah, so you appear to be the only person crying about this, and because the consciousness, the awareness doesn't appear to be so much, because I can't see a lot of persons fighting this, because gathering from the picture you painted, it's like either we are very, very ignorant of the fact, or we are docile, because no action is coming from. So what are you doing to galvanize support so that you can drum up your message louder?
Yeah, actually, I wouldn't say that we are few. There have been a lot of organizations, anti-GMO movement in the country, including a lot of people. The church has been very vocal to this. The Catholic Bishops' Conference, I know, organized several conferences and enlightenment on this program. So there are voices speaking out. What the unfortunate thing happening is that the very authorities that are in government, who are supposed to stand up against this, have been bought over by this international criminal cartel led by American billionaires. They came to this country with the flagship of trying to help Nigeria and modernize health system, modernize agriculture. But behind this is the most primitive, wicked plan ever carried out anywhere, worse than that of Nazi government. What they have done, we say crime. In fact, we should be by now asking the American government for extradition of Bill Gates into this country to answer for these crimes. Because let him tell the Nigerian people why he issued grants. And these grants, these telephones, he called the electronic wallet. He funded them. And how are they how is it that the farmers that have gotten this electronic wallet are now dying, decimated and killed and slaughtered? He should come to Nigeria and answer this. And all his people who are helping him in this country should also be brought forward before the National Assembly of Nigeria and sit down and answer to the whole world. If I challenge them, if they think they are doing anything better, they should come and even on their own volition, without even extradition, and come and answer to the Nigerian people. So why I gave this 2 billion naira and I improved the health? Show us how it happened. Yeah. Show us we are not fully self-sufficient for food, but we were getting close to that before 2014. And now, how can it be that we can't even feed ourselves any longer? Our nation is no more secure. Our farmers can't farm. How did this happen? You started a fattening program funded by these organizations in Chad, in Niger, the so-called cattle fattening program. The same cattle which normally wouldn't eat cassava now eats cassava, and then you used it as a weapon. Equipped your mercenaries with AK-47 to come to Nigeria and decimate Nigerian farms and kill Nigerian people. How did this happen? Your funding was what was used for the cattle fattening program. He should come before the Nigerian people and answer. And all those people, all those organizations who are backing him should also come, because this is high treason. This is a charge of high treason for any Nigerian to be supporting this program under no matter the guise. They put in the Ministry of Environment, they put their own people in the Biosafety Management Agency, approving unhealthy, criminally approving crops that are dangerous, that kill people.
Okay, so you are the chairman of Global Prolife Association.
Alliance.
Alliance, yeah, Alliance, sorry. Then what does the group stand for?
The Global Prolife Alliance is just an alliance of several organizations, some religious-based, some secular-based. The fact that we are not an association, we are an alliance. So we come together to fight a common cause. For example, these GMO. So everybody is talking together, and then we issue communiques that are common, speak on a common theme together, and we fight this the way we can.
Okay. In your correspondence, you reached out to so many other international groups, the UN, ECOWAS, OIC, and the World Medical Association and others.
Yes.
So far, has there been any feedback? Are you getting any positive responses?
Well,
I mean, in your campaign.
Yes, we get a lot of positive, because most times the truth of the matter is that people are not very much aware of what is happening. They believe the so-called press in terms of the good works Bill Gates is doing in Africa, and how he's revitalizing agriculture, education, health, and all that. You see, so they are fed with rubbish. And it's only when we put these actions under the microscope for them, like in the communique, that now eyes will start opening, and many people start expressing their understanding on this. See, this in Europe. You mentioned earlier in the outro that many of the countries burned. In fact, in Hungary, the prime minister went from each farm to the other to just put kerosene and burn the entire GMO. The same thing they did in Italy, the same thing they did in France, the same thing they did in Russia, everywhere. Oh, so Europeans don't want to eat GMO. Or the Africans and Nigerians should eat GMO. Because their plan is genocide of Africa. Wow. Total genocide, mass sterilization, killing. Then we use us for the product of achieve their cloning, and then they move on a devastated continent. So we will not exist any longer. And it's unfortunate that even some people in our parliament and some of the people in government are colluding with this because of money. But I think the judgment is left for the Nigerian people to make. And I think when they deliver that judgment, the world will hear it.
It's okay. Prof, this is where we round off the program. And thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, viewers, you've had him so much, and the campaign is really, really one that every person should join to drum up louder. Some of it is now revealed that some of the aids we appear to be getting from the foreign people are not as genuine as they sound, and a situation where we will be losing our lives. There is the possibility that there may not be existence of the black man anymore, or we will be living at the mercy of the white man. On that note, we round off the program, and please remember to like our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube platform. My name again is Afam Echi.